Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your host, Mike Garvey, with the Side Hustle Squad podcast with the one and only Larry Delasanti, my co-host. Larry, how are you?
Good.
We've moved around tonight. We were outdoors, indoor, outdoor at your bar, but the rain has been coming down, and it's too noisy, so we relocated back into the, I'd say, official studio.
Yeah.
Not the satellite studio, but what's going on? How are you?
Good, man. Just trucking along on cleanups, getting them done. So did a big one today.
Nice.
That's it. Yeah.
Awesome. We have a special guest here today. We have Pat Susino. He is an employee of yours. He's been with you for about 2 months. You came to me and said we'd love to have him on. He's got a cool story and a lot of interesting things to say, right?
Yeah, I mean, really good story, I think. I mean, to me, it's like probably one of the best stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Patrick. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. This isn't easy. It's opening yourself up and telling us your story. But let's start with let the audience know about yourself, where you're from, and we'll go from there.
So I come from a little tiny 3/4 square mile town, and it's just a complete dumpster fire. It's such a shithole.
It's always been.
It's always been since the dawn of time. And I started out in the trailer park. My dad had bought a trailer when he was pregnant with my mom. They got married, and he left when I was like 2. My brother James was just born. I don't know what exactly happened, but I'm pretty sure my mom was cheating on him or something crazy.
Right.
And that's where we lived for quite a while. And my mom was, she was into the drugs and the alcohol, like, pretty bad. And it was nice. It was like a humble beginning, but like kind of shitty. Like, my dad was one of the coolest people. Like, to this day, is the coolest person I know.
Right.
And he's so like
he left when you were 2, but he was still. He was in
our lives. Yeah, he did.
Weekends, and there was every visitation.
Every other weekend, never missed a child support payment.
Wow.
It was like he worked.
So he wasn't like he was
off.
out of the picture. Like when you say he was gone, he wasn't. He was out of his. They
split up. Yeah. And my dad, like, my mom put this man through hell, and my dad never in a million years ever said anything bad about my mom or her family, even though they trashed him all the time. He just like, yo, you're my kids. I'm not gonna
talk bad about your mom.
That's your mom. I ain't doing it.
Wow.
Like,
That's great.
Dude, my dad is one of the only people in my life that wasn't a shitbag. Like, he's just genuine, like, doesn't really drink. He quit smoking when he had us because, like, he was like, I can't do it.
I can't have to smoke around. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I want to be there for my kids, man,
Right.
And, like, he was just genuinely, like, one of the greatest dudes on this earth. And, like, my mom, like I said, she was real heavy into the drugs, the alcohol. Maybe when we were, like, 3, she found out that she had cancer, like a childhood cancer that, like, no one detected. And she kind of, like, she wasn't really there a lot. She did a lot of partying, was, like, she'd fall asleep. She'd be gone for, like, days.
Even when she found out
especially when she found out. It was like, I'm just going to live my life. Like,
whatever, I'm gonna go, and you guys will figure it out.
And we'll figure it out. Like, there was times, like, I remember being like 6, 7 years old, having to like climb on cabinets to like get oatmeal down and like
to get dinner.
To feed my brother and sister because she's like asleep, like Sunday day, like all day, just asleep because she was out partying Friday and Saturday. Like, and I was just like, shit, and like.
And at 7 years old,
like, yeah, like I was young, like they're like young, maybe even younger, like just climbing on cabinets trying to like feed
first
us.
grade.
Like, yeah, and like there was good moments, and then like she'd go out and like she left us with babysitters, and some terrible things happened. Like, we were really young, like I was 5, and like this was one of the things that like I kept this inside for so long. And, like, I feel like it's probably why I hated myself so much. Like, I was very violent.
Yeah.
I was very aggressive as a kid. I didn't like people. Me and my twin sister had gotten raped by one of my babysitters and her boyfriend. It was, like, bad. Like, it was really bad. They ended up going to jail. And, like, I carried that with me. And I don't it all kind of escalated from there. It was like I had all this hate and everything else, and I didn't really care for my mother that much. I wanted to go live with my father, and she wouldn't let me, and all this other shit.
And you almost blame her for it.
I blamed my dad, actually.
Okay.
Because, like, it's like, why won't you just let me come live with you? Like,
yeah.
And you're 5. You're 5. You don't fucking understand.
You don't get the process of divorce.
Yeah, like, you just don't get it. And it's like I never understood it. And it's like, they're like, mom's not even here. Like, no one's even here. Like, no one loves me. Like, how could you let this happen to me? And they all said, like, well, if your father never left your mom, which, like, that wasn't the case. Like, my father left my mom because of a pretty good reason.
Right.
And, you know, like, that kind of, like, that all started for me. Like, I was really, like, I was a bad kid.
Yeah.
But, like, I remember, like, getting the job, like, early. Like, I was probably 10 years old, and, like, one of the guys down the street had a construction company. So I was working with him a little bit. Just stupid shit. Clean up, you know, put this in the trash bag.
And going to elementary school?
And going to elementary school. We went to a Catholic school. One of the things that my father had done was, you know, his child support payments went towards
that.
He bought our uniforms. My dad did everything he could to contribute to our family.
Right.
And
so the weekends were like with him were
every
normal.
other weekend, yeah. That
was like, hey, we're doing like you looked forward to that.
I loved it.
You loved that was normal.
He coached our soccer teams.
Right.
He was working, I don't know, 40, 50 hours a week, sometimes 60, and like even if he would take us to work. I would go to work in the work truck. My uncle owned a mail truck company that picks up at a central docking station, and then he drops the mail off at all the post offices, and they deliver it to your house.
Yeah.
I remember being young. It'd be like 3 a.m. Like, come on, get up. You're going to come to work with me. Like, just go into work. I'm like, this is cool. Like, you're a little kid in this big old truck. You get bagels. Right. You know? Like, it's fun.
Yeah.
And I got hooked up with one of the guys down the street. He was doing sprinkler lines. He was like a sprinkler company, small-time sprinkler company. And I would all day long on the weekends, sometimes after school, I would dig these holes with a pickaxe, pickaxe. My hands would be all blistered up. Like, I'll go down to the grocery store. I'll get like a bag of onions or like some chips, you know, something that like, yo, well, we could eat. Like, yo, let's feed ourselves. Like, we don't need anybody. Fuck it. Like, and like everyone in my family, all of my mom's side of the family are just degenerates. We're all alcoholics. We're all drunks. We all do drugs pretty much. Like, I had my mom's mom, my grandma, was a saint. She liked to drink, but she was a saint. Like, great woman. She ended up doing a lot of like raising me a lot. Right.
Your grandmother.
Yeah. And then two trailers down, my older cousin was living right there with his parents.
Okay.
And I had some great times. I had really good times. But like, that was just our life. Like, we partied. Right. Very young.
Right.
Very, very young.
You've been around that environment since the beginning of you.
It was all I ever knew.
It's all you ever knew.
This is what we do.
This is what we do.
This is what our family does. This is what I do. This is what we're going to do.
Right. And then go to your dad's, and it's somewhat normal.
And it's the complete opposite. The complete opposite.
So you're almost longing for normal, but it's not getting granted to you because of whatever arrangement.
Whatever that.
Yeah, the arrangement that was worked out. And then it would go back to normal every other weekend, and then back to chaos during the week. Man. You're on your own. You live by yourself. You're at 7 years old.
Sometimes, like, not all the time, but like, I try not to overplay because it's like it's hard. Like, I was a kid, I don't remember all of it.
Yeah.
But like, I started to remember more of the good times now that I'm clean. Because when I was getting high and everything else, like, it was like an excuse for me almost. Like, oh, well, if you lived the life I lived, you would want to be numb
to life anyway.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
But like, there was a lot of shitty things that happened and a lot of shitty stuff. Like, she had a boyfriend, and this guy used to beat the living shit out of her. And I was in kindergarten, and one night I saw it. I didn't really sleep. Like, one thing about me, I don't sleep very well. Right. I get like an hour or two here, a lot of nightmares, even as a young kid. And this guy was beating the shit out of my mom, and I jumped on his back. And he threw me across the room into a cabinet, and then choked me out. And it's like, oh, this is fucking great. Like, no one's going to help me. Like, you know, and it's like, why are you like, I couldn't comprehend, like, why do you do this? Like, why is this my life? And like, so like I got a little older, and like a couple cousins introduced me into the alcohol and the liquor. And it was like, oh, it's the cool thing. Come with us, come party. Like, You know, like I was the oldest.
And how old was that?
Like 10.
Right.
Probably like 9-ish, 10-ish.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was normal. I was the young cool kid because I was the oldest one of my siblings, but I was the youngest one out of my 2 cousins.
Right.
And it's like I felt accepted. I felt like this is where I belong. Like, this is my life. This is where I'm going. Let's just have fun and do whatever. And like from the first sip, I was like, oh, this isn't bad. I started to feel good. My chest was on fire. Like I was already like a fiery,
feeling good.
Feeling good. Like
for once.
Yeah. And then I noticed like, oh, if I drink enough of this, I'm not even me. Like I'm whoever the hell I want to be. So it's like,
wow.
I just I got really, really, really involved with drugs and alcohol very fast. By 13, I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I was drinking almost every night with my friends. We were smoking pot. Like, it didn't end. Like, and then like, you know, we tried a couple different drugs here and there, nothing too crazy. High school comes around, coke. Just straight out of my fucking mind on coke. Like, couldn't get enough of it. Couldn't like say no to it.
Weekends or like daily?
Oh, you do during school. Me and my boys, like, he'd be like, yo, he text me, like, yo, you want to go to the bathroom? Like, you knew what that meant. Like, we're going to the bathroom. Like, we're going to rip out a couple rails. We're going to go back. Like, by high school, my locker probably looked like your drug evidence room. Like, it was bad. It was a bad, bad scene. And, you know, like, it went hand in hand. It was like, that's what we did. That's what we did for fun. Like, we would fight and we would drink and we'd party, and there really wasn't, like, my dad was strict, but, like, there wasn't too much, like, so my mom passed away when I was 12.
Okay,
right?
so that's...
She died of cancer.
Okay.
I went to live with my father.
Okay.
Me, my brother, and my sister, my twin sister. And I had this chip on my shoulder. I hated him. I blamed him for everything that bad that happened to us.
From the incident, yeah.
And it's like, I was mad because, like, oh, now you want me. Like... And it's like, all I really ever wanted was a family. And it's like, then I go move in. He has this new wife, and she was a great woman. But, like, she got put in a really tough spot. Like, she had this house with him. She had 2 kids with him. She saw us every other weekend. Like, she was good to us. Like, she was a great, amazing. She still is. She's alive. She's an amazing person. But it's like, you get, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, you just have all these feelings of, like, well, maybe she doesn't like us. Maybe she doesn't want us around. Like, and
does she want this? This wasn't her choice. Now now she's getting this 3 kids.
Yeah, 3 kids, and my brother and sister were horrible to this woman. And like, I understood. Like I tried to explain it. Like, yo, you know how bad this could suck. Like, you think like this is what she wanted, and then you're coming in and she's trying to do her best, and you're not my mother. You can't,
shitting
like,
all over her.
Like, shitting all over her. And like, my chip was with my dad. It's like, no, I'm 12 years old. Like, I work. You don't buy my school clothes anymore. You don't do this. You don't do that. Like, I'm doing whatever I want. Like, you give James $20 to go to the movies. I tell you I'm going to go on a date, and you don't give me nothing. You work. Go ahead. So it's like, you know what? Like, you want me to be a man? You want me to do this and that? Like, I'm going to stay out whenever I want. I got a job. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do everything I have to do, but you can't tell me what to do anymore because you want to be a man. Like, go ahead. Be a man.
Right.
Never gave me any money. Never like, but he was there. He was there for me all the way. Anytime I had a problem, anytime there was something serious, like, he was there for me. It just kind of like was like, you want to be a man so bad? Go ahead.
Go ahead and do it.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you felt like you could because you've been since you're 5.
And I did. I legitimately like did the best I could. I paid for all my own shit. Like, you know, even like wrestling camp, like, he couldn't really afford a lot of things. He had 5 kids. He was just a normal truck driver.
Yeah.
And like, it's tough, man. We moved into my mom's house. We moved from the trailer park to a house on Laurel Avenue. It was big. It was beautiful. My grandfather built this house, and it was beautiful. Built it for my mom, and we moved in there. And like, it was way above his pay grade.
Right.
Like,
to afford.
And like, he was like, this is their mom's house. Like, my dad, like, sacrificed a lot of shit to make sure that we were there just so we'd be happy. And, like, no one even appreciated it. Like, we were terrible. We were such little assholes back then. Like, thinking about it, like in a way, like, I knew that we were shitty.
Yeah.
And it's like that only like perpetuated my drug use. Like, it's like
because you're carrying that too.
Because it's like it's just like one weight after another weight after another weight. And it's just like
it keeps piling on your back.
Yeah, and then like after high school, it kind of just started to spiral. I'm out of the house. I'm on my own. No one could tell me what to fucking do. And like it's like every night was like coke, weed, beer till like 3, 4 in the morning. Get up at 6 in the morning. Go to work at my uncle's garage. Then I'd go to work at Anthony's Pizza delivering pizzas. Then I'd come home, party all night, repeat cycle. Like
7 nights a week.
7 nights a week. And it was just like, it got bad quick.
How so?
Like, I ended up losing my house. Like, I was renting an apartment, like a little bungalow.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And I stopped paying. Partying outweighed everything else. And then I was out on my own for a while. Until like it kind of, you know how that goes. Like you use the drugs, the alcohol, and everything kind of spirals out of control, right? And I ended up losing the house. I'm just homeless at this point. And I talked to my dad, and he said, "Well, just come back to the house." He was still, my brothers and sisters, everyone was still there. I moved back into the house, and then I don't even know where to go from there. It's so like blank in that state because at that point I was just so drunk all the time. Like all the time. So it's like, before that I moved into a friend's house and we were squatting actually in his old house that was up for sale. We weren't even supposed to be there. And there was like no electric, no heat, no nothing. You know, you're taking showers in like the dead of winter, but it's all right. It's a place to stay and I could still drink and smoke and do what I want. Like
somewhat.
Yeah, everything just, it happened so fast and everything kind of spiraled so fast. It's like, it's hard to like pick and choose where to start from. But like, it was just one shit show after another shit show and like nothing stopped it. Like I reached a point around 18 or 19 where it's like, I'm not sure if I want to do this, but I do want to do this because it's all I've ever known. And like, this is how people see me. And like, I feel good when I'm on it. And like, there was a part of me deep down inside, like, I don't feel good anymore, but I couldn't stop. And like that threw me through a loop. Cause like, you know, like I didn't understand what addiction really was. You know what I mean? I just thought like, yo, this is normal life. And like, I'd be like, you know what? Like maybe I'll just have one. Maybe I'll just have one beer. And like, I'd have one beer and the next thing you know, I'm closing Jackie Keelan's at like 18 years old. I'm not even legal to drink yet.
There.
Yeah. I'm not even legal to be there yet. And And like I did have a lot of positive influences. Like I had a lot of people. I worked for 3 of my uncles. One was a plumber, one was a landscaper, and one had his own garage.
Right.
And they all treated me like I was their son. Like I had really genuine good people in my life that gave me real good advice. And I always felt like I disappointed them. It's like, oh, you're coming in late again. Like, we out all night partying. Like, yeah, you know. Like,
and they kind of just took it as
stuff like, you know, they sit down like, yo, dude, you gotta watch. Like, you know, you got some signs over here that are like, they're troubling. You know, you're gonna end up being something you don't want to be. And it's like, no, like, you know, that young attitude, like, yo, I'm fine, everything will be fine. And it wasn't. It didn't. When I got really fucked up bad. I was spiraling out of control. I was doing a lot of like different party drugs, and I ended up sleeping at my boy's house. I ended up living with him for a little bit. After what was it? Like maybe 21, something like that. And I left there to go to Florida for this fence company job that my cousin got me into. And he was like, "Look, dude, I'm gonna take you out here." He's like, you can't be who you are. We're gonna have fun, but you can't be who you are right now. I'm like, all right,
we're gonna have fun, but
we're gonna tone it down.
We're gonna tone it down. Okay, that's like that sounds like I'll have one beer, but then, like you said, you're closing it down. It seems like the same.
Well, like we could have like 12 beers, but it's like. You're not going to have 12 beers, they go get a bunch of strippers, bring them back to my house, and then we're going to stay up all night sniffing coke. Like, no, dude, like, we got work in the morning.
If the strippers call me.
Yeah. So, we're going to have fun, but we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
when I say like I was out of control as a kid, like every day it was like we're fighting, we're doing something. We were in the woods, 14 years old, running from cops. My little brother James in the weeds. We're bringing the dogs. We know you don't have dogs. Like screaming, running for like we were just always in trouble. My brother James got brought home by the cops like every other week. Like,
so take me. So you go to Florida.
We go to Florida. And he's like, all right, we're gonna move down to Philly, right? And he's like, we're gonna stay there. We're doing a prison out there. I'm like, all right, cool.
Where you learned how to do the fence, you told me.
This is where I learned how to do all the fence and stuff. And so we go out there, and it was like a life changer. It's like, you know what? Like, I'm away from my friends. Like, I'm doing something positive. I'm like, let me try to be the best that I could be.
Weather's nice.
Weather's nice. Well, we went back to Philly first.
Oh, okay.
And then we went to Alabama and then Florida. And
okay,
Texas.
So you were jumping around.
Because we did prisons and military bases.
Wow.
So we were all over the country all the time. Yeah, small stuff. Small stuff.
Little residentials.
Yeah. And like 2 years in, I end up getting back with this girl I dated in high school. That's my daughter's mom. And I got right back into the cocaine. And it was just like, I started bringing it up from Jersey to Philly, then from Philly to wherever the hell I was going. And it's like, I like started to isolate. I started not to talk to people. I started to do reckless, crazy shit again. Like, right back to that old neighborhood kid life I was trying to leave behind. My cousin said, look, dude, like, you got a problem. Like, you're not you when you're doing this stuff. And like, I had gotten clean, like clean-ish. I was still drinking like a fish every day.
Right.
I was still smoking pot every day. Like,
right, but not the hard drugs.
I wasn't doing the hard drugs. And then he'd be like, look, dude, like, just stop doing the coke. He's like, we'll have fun. Like, we'll go to a rave. We'll drop some Molly. We'll eat some ecstasy. Just 3 days. 3 days, we'll have some fun. He's like, other than that, what do you need that stuff for? And it's like, all right, whatever. That's cool. It's cool. And so I did that. Me and her were still together. And I'm like, look, I'll stop doing most of everything. I'm just going to drink if she can come out here and live with us. And we were out in Alabama, and we were living like out of this, like an extended stay. And I ended up getting her pregnant. And like 2 weeks before I was going to leave to go home to spend time with what was going to be my newborn child, I get in this terrible car accident in the morning. I come home, I broke my back. I was all sorts of messed up. And like, I went into like this depression where like all I did was smoke weed and drink. And like, I remember like, I was building my daughter's room. We took Aaron's old room. We moved everything out. And I did all the floors. I took the ceiling fan down and I painted them purple, and I painted like the little collar part that, buttons up, that spins onto like the, whatever you call it. I painted all like white. So it was purple and white. The room had little elephants on it. It was all purple. It was beautiful. And the whole time I did that, I was coked out of my fucking mind. And it's just like, no matter what good thing is happening, like in my life, like, a doctor told me I was going to hold my unborn child for the first time in a wheelchair because I wasn't going to be able to walk again. And I told that doctor, fuck you, put that brace on me. I'm going to walk right now. It took every ounce of strength in my body to do that because I wanted to be there for my daughter. And then I'm over here like a jerk off, building her whole nursery, coked out of my brain with this back brace on, a total full turtle shell. And it's like you just, like this internal battle where you're trying to like figure out like, who am I? Like,
yeah.
How can I live this way? How can I like want this so bad and like not be able to put these drugs down? Like, and like there was a part of me that's like, nah, like it's normal. Like there was another part of me like, dude, you're a fucking jerk off. And another part of me is like, you're a great guy. You just did all this work. It's beautiful work. Like you did this for your daughter. Like I remember working like 3-4 different jobs and still counting quarters to go buy her baby formula and diapers. And it's because I have this terrible addiction where I want to please everyone. I want to be drunk. I want to be high. I want to be partying. Like, I want people to know I got money when I don't. I don't have a fucking pot to piss in. We were living at it was just terrible, man. And I ended up leaving her. I gave her the house. Everything was just what it was. And it's just the way we left things was pretty bad too. Like she was cheating. It's just it got real ugly, and I was like, yo, like something clicked in my brain. I'm like, like I kind of feel the way that like my father felt, and it's like I started to realize like I want to be my father. Like I don't want to be this guy. So for a while, like I had it somewhat under wraps. What led up to that was I left her. My daughter was like, I don't know, a year old, maybe less than a year old. And I was so heartbroken. I was living on my grandma's couch because I just needed to get away. And I was doing a shit ton of coke, and I don't even know what other drugs, all sorts of prescription pills and everything else. And I was drunk out of my mind on Jack Daniels one day, and my uncle called me. He's like, yo, your motor came in. Come drop your truck off. We'll put it in. I'm like, all right, cool. I had like a blown cylinder or something.
Right.
So it's like I could still drive it, but it was shit. And this guy at the light ended up flipping me off, honking his horn. After he cut me off, I went into like this instant like rage. And like I followed him home, and I beat the shit out of him like pretty bad. I ended up in the psych ward. And like I was there for like trying to kill someone, like just like I was like I lost my mind, like blah blah blah. And the guy was like really cool about it. He's like an ex police captain or something. He was like, look, dude, he's like, my wife works in the hospital. Like if you get yourself checked out, like I'm up for charges. I'm like, all right, cool, like fuck it, like let's go right now, dude. Like I can't afford another like offense. I can't do it. So we ended up taking off and going to the hospital. My dad brings me there. This is where I met my to this day current fiance.
Okay.
I'm probably like 27 at this point, and I'm like, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change this time. I'm gonna do it for good. Like
This
done.
happened for a reason.
Like this happened. Yeah, the same shit I told myself every other time I said I was gonna change,
Right.
and nothing changed. I didn't do as much coke. I was just mostly just drinking, and it's like even she'd be like, you drink too much. Like, but like, yo, but I function. Like, I outdrank you and all your friends. I still drove the car home. Like, it was like any excuse I could find to just keep living that life.
That's because when you're drinking, you were sober.
Yeah.
When you weren't drinking, you were drunk.
That's
because
right.
your body was like
it's exactly
wanting the booze,
I remember 2 years old, like, my daughter would come over to my grandma's house and stuff like that. And, like, or like maybe even younger than that. Like, I don't know when she started talking because I was so fucked up back then. But she'd say, like, Daddy special cup, because she knew like when I drank my coffee in the morning, like I had to put whiskey in my coffee or I couldn't do anything. I couldn't function. I was shaking. I would go to work, with the shakes. Like by 27, I think I was 26, 27 when I had Kenzie, and I was a mess. I was a mess of a man, and like there's a lot of stuff in between there. Like I'm trying to remember, but like it's hard sometimes, like thinking back on it, because like. I try not to like we don't want to like morbidly reflect on the things that we did in our past. We want to recognize them, analyze them, and then learn to let that go, because that's the key to like staying sober. That's the key to like success, is like, yo, it happened. You can't undo the past. You can't rewrite your own history. It's not your purpose. So like, what is my purpose on this earth? How do I stay sober? How do I stop being this mess of a man that just keeps having these drastic life-altering changes and just keep going back to doing the same thing? And it's like, so like where me and Jacqueline ended up, I was living with her and her family. I went back to the fence company. I was out there, and I don't even know how it happened, but I got into like smoking crystal and like all sorts of other shit. And like I ended up leaving that job. I got hurt one day. I fell off a roof like 40 feet in the air. My harness snapped. I fucked my hips up. I re-broke my back. I'm like, I'm done. I'm going home. So I get home, and she's like, you can't stay here. I want you out. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, are you serious? She's like, you lied to me the whole time you were out there. You haven't been sending me home money. You're making all this money. You're not sending me home any. And, and it clicked. I'm like, all right, fuck. I got fucked up again. Like, all right. So I go over to my dad's. I'm staying on his couch. And he's like, yo, we don't want you here. He's like, it's not that I don't love you. It's like Terry doesn't want you around your little brother and sister. Like, you're a mess. You're a fucking mess. And it's like, I don't even remember where exactly I went after that. Like, I know there was a couple places in between. Maybe I was like couch surfing, crashing. I don't remember. And I ended up with my boy Harry. And he was like, I've been working with Harry when I started landscaping with my mother and uncle. I was like 12, 11 years old, some shit like that. I was young, like young child, like just starting high school, and I'd work with him on weekends here and there. And like, I've known Harry since I was like a little kid. He's like 10 years older than me. I always consider like my brother. And he's like, you come live with me. He's like, but we're not going to just party every day. It's exactly what we did. Partied every fucking day. Didn't get a job.
You're not.
Yeah, didn't get a job. He's like, you got to get a job and you got to help us with the rent and shit. It's like I was like stealing weed and like just straight robbing people of their weed and like selling it to like, you're mad about rent, here, just take an ounce. Like just stupid shit. Like meanwhile, this poor woman that I claim to like love, that I'm crying on the phone every night to, is sitting here raising 2 little babies by herself. And like I'm like, oh, I'm a great parent. Like, and like when they were around, like I may have been high, but like I was a good parent when I was around.
Right.
And like I was like, I'll never be my mom. I'll never do this. And like I did exactly what my mom had done to us without even realizing it. And like it's like I had this whole new appreciation outlook on life. Like, you know, like you did it. You did it. You turned right into what you said you weren't. And like I didn't know what addiction was. I didn't know like why I thought she just didn't love us. And like I was like, I don't want my children to feel like this anymore. And like so I get kicked out of Harry's. And I'm living in the woods behind my uncle's house in a tent. And Jacqueline is like every night on the phone talking to me. Every night we're on like the whatever it is, the Facebook, FaceTime, Messenger thing, and we're talking and like I'm like, babe, I don't want to live like this anymore. And she's like, get help. And I'm like, no, it's not going to work. No, there's no hope. Like, this is just who I am. And eventually she got so sick of the lies and the broken promises. And I ended up, my dad was like, are you really living in the woods? I was like, I lived in the woods throughout an entire fucking winter. Frozen solid in the dead of the swamps, like an actual creek. Like, if it was high tide, I had to pick my tent up and move it. Because, like, the water would just come right in. And it's like, it's dead of winter. Like, you know when the fuck you're getting wet. And she stayed with me, which was crazy. And then my dad's like, you're really living in the woods? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, just come on, move back home with me. I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, I'm sure, but you gotta fucking stop. So I get there. Now it's back to like summertime again. So like summertime, I always got money. I was doing fence and landscape for myself, plus working for another guy. I made a real honest go of it. I was like, I can do this. And I was only drinking. And I was running my own company. I did it.
Talk about your company a little bit, your landscape company.
So I had like a small little landscape company. It started out when I was doing work with my uncle. Like I would get a push mower. Like after work, I would get a push mower, borrow one of his weed whackers. I had a little shit blower. And like, I was telling Larry this story the other day, actually. We bought my daughter like this little wagon. I did like 5 little houses around the block. And I would my truck was in the shop, and I fucking put my mower, my little push mower, and my weed whacker in the wagon. I took it to all 5 houses. Then I went back, got my blower, put it in the wagon, went back and blew them off. Like, and it was just like, that's how I started. Like, it started with like a rented equipment here, a piece of shit equipment here, like something I had bought off my uncle that was like, here, you could buy it, but you have to fix it. Like,
right.
And like, so like I started just doing that, and it grew. Like, I was good at it. It's something I had done for a while. Like, I was pruning all my own bushes. I was doing cleanups, and people loved the work. And like, I wanted the job because I wanted to like make money, and I was underbidding everything, and I knew I was underbidding it, and I was doing better work than people that were overbidding it because I was doing the work myself. There was nobody else with me.
Yeah.
So it's like I didn't have to worry about like, oh, did he do this? Did he do that? It's like, no, everything was done. And it's like, then it's like, all right. So I would put some money back into buying better shit, and then the rest I would drink, and then I would make up excuse like, oh no, this person didn't pay me yet, and I'm gonna get this check on this day, he wasn't there, and like the business part, like I was making money.
Yeah,
like I was really making good money, and just my fiance never saw a drop of it.
Right,
and like
went right back into the drinking.
Everything. Like And there was like so many, like I would not do something for a month, but I'd be doing all this, and then I wouldn't do this for a month, but I'm doing this. It's like I could never just stop. And like my business, like it could have been really successful if I had just stopped doing what I was doing. Like if I could just, or even just stick to just drinking, or even like control my, but I couldn't. I was just I'd be good for like, I have 3 beers 5 days in a row. I'd be like, oh wow, I did really good. Like,
Right.
and then come the 6th day, I'm off to the races for a month, and then it's like, like you can't not show up for cuts. You can't, like, and you have people calling you, and then people are saying like, yo, this guy, like he was good, and then he just stopped coming.
Yeah.
And it's like it was no good. Like I could have been really successful. And it was, it started the way most people start. Like, just you get a little piece of something, and you just have that work ethic and that drive. Like, I've always had that hustle. I was a hustler, like, with everything. I worked harder than mostly anyone I ever met. And I had so much talent that I just squandered. But, like, it's, like, it ended up turning to, like, where I had, like, almost, like, 80 yards. And, like, I was doing that.
And working full-time.
I was working 2 full-time jobs. I worked with my, like, I call him like my brother, but he's like just a guy I've known for a long time that's older than me. And he has his own landscaping company. And he was like, I really have nobody. He's like, I really need somebody. And I'm like, well, I can help you out here and there. And he's like, well, how about you just come work for me? I'll give you $800 a week. And he showed me his yard list. It wasn't too many more yards than I had. And I was like, all right, look, I'll help you. You help me, and you give me $800 a week. And we did. Like, it was really good. And then I'd work for him during the day. I'd go out, do my stuff, whatever I couldn't finish. Him and his brother would split on the weekend. Like, gotcha. They would bang out like maybe 10 yards. And like and then I would go to Chili's. I was a cook at Chili's after that, like after work. And then once again, this is where it got bad with me and my fiance Jacqueline. Like, I met her in the insane asylum, by the way. Like, she was there for trying to kill herself. I was there for trying to kill somebody else. Like, that's how we met. And
right,
like, it all got really bad really quick. And then, I was drinking full time. Landscaping season had just ended. I had no money saved up. I was lying to her about like where I was going after work. Like, it'd be like 1 o'clock at night, and I closed the kitchen, and she's like, well, I'm gonna stay up and wait for you to call me. And then I wouldn't call her because I'd be out partying every night with the cooks and the managers and everything else. And it's like, why didn't you call me? And
in the restaurant world.
Yeah, like, why are you lying to me? Why are you doing this? You've been doing this to me for like 2 years. She's like, I can't trust you. I can't love you. I don't want you around your kids. And she did. She straight didn't let me talk to her. She didn't let me talk to the boys. She didn't come and visit. She didn't. And like, this woman I put through absolute hell, and time and again, she came back. Like, she came back and, like, was always, she never let, she's the one person that I did not lose during my addiction until I had lost her. And, like, I was in a rut. It was wintertime. I was just working at the kitchen. And I was, like, on my way up to becoming a kitchen manager. And there was another manager in there that really didn't kind of like that. She'd give me a lot of shit. And I was drunk as a skunk one night. And I forget what she even said to me, but I went off. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, I don't need this job. I don't need this shit. Like, I'm gone. I'm out. And, like, I didn't really have any other things planned. And I couldn't get a job because of, like, certain criminal histories and everything else. Like, it was tough. It was harder. And then on top of it, I really wasn't looking all that hard. So I was like, I went back to doing the things that I knew how to do. So I was running, guns and meth from Pennsylvania down to New Jersey. And I got hooked up with one of my friends from high school was actually buying some of it from the guy I was giving it to. I don't want to really name names.
Yeah, no.
And so I got hooked into meth so bad. Like, my life went from shit to apocalyptic within the span of like a month and a half. Like, I took the meth and I just took off to the races. Like, and this is like where, like,
this is
the breaking point. This was my rock bottom.
This is running the meth as a distributing it and using it.
I was just bringing it in. I was just like a transporter.
Right.
And like he just happened to know
you said
Pennsylvania
to New Jersey.
To New Jersey. And it took off. And I wasn't even able to like go get it anymore because I was so fucking tweaked out and like high all the time. All I did was lay on my dad's couch downstairs, and then I'd stay up all night smoking meth. And like this is where it got bad. And like this is like something I really don't like to tell people or talk about, but like I started prostituting myself to the guy that I was buying the meth from. Because I had no other options because I wasn't making the money off the guns. I wasn't making the money off the meth. I wasn't making the money in the kitchen. I wasn't making money on the landscaping business. I wasn't with Jacqueline. I wasn't with my boys. Like, it got really ugly. And, like, so one night I was like, I couldn't get anything. I was coked out of my brain. And I was high and drunk. And, like, I was mad about this. It was the most shame. Like, I've done some really horrible, shitty things in my life. I was so ashamed and guilty. I was leaving this party. It was like 5 in the morning. I could barely even walk. Like, most of the nights a blur. I was like, I'm going to go kill him. I'm just going to go fucking kill him. I grab a hammer. I break into his house. And I sneak through the window and, like, I'm there, and I'm sitting behind the couch, and I hear him come out of the room, and I'm like, fuck, he went to run, and I grabbed him and just slammed him on the ground, and, like, I flipped him over. I had the hammer, and and I couldn't do it. I couldn't, like, something in my brain snapped, and they refer to it as, like a spiritual experience, an awakening. Like, that's, the point in my brain that, like, snapped, like, yo, what you're doing is wrong. And I heard that voice before I went in the house. Like, yo, this is a terrible idea. Go home. I've never heard that voice before. And I was like, I went in anyway. I defied the voice, and I go in. And, like, this terrible atrocity happens. And, like, now it's like, well, now I didn't even go through with it. Like, I got to do something. So I end up robbing them for, like, a quarter of meth and, like, 100 tabs of acid. So I go home. I pop a couple tabs of the acid. I do a whole bunch of the meth. I'm going down the street to go see somebody, and the cops are there. And the kid's like, so like this kid's a drug dealer, and he ended up calling the cops to report a robbery on it. And
not too smart,
but like, so I ended up getting arrested, and like on a free warrant. Like, I knew a lot of the house of cops. I went to school with them. I was never really like, I was in trouble for fighting a lot. I wasn't really in trouble for like guns, like anything like that, like drugs. Like, one time when I was 18, I got arrested, and like I got set up too. Like, that was terrible. But like, I really like
nothing like this.
Like, nothing. Well, I mean, assault and stuff like that, but nothing like what happened. They're like, look, like, this is my friend. Like, well, he'll come down. I'll talk. He's like, will you come down and talk? Like, give a statement and everything. I'm like, all right, yeah, no problem. So I go down there, and the detective's there, and the detective's like, I'm spinning this whole big bullshit story, and the detective first of all, I'm chewing my face off. There's no way you're telling me, like, you're not high. Like, you know what I mean? Right. He's like, I just want to know the facts. Like, what happened? We know you were there. We have your shoe. We have this. We have that.
Right.
Like, yeah. I was so drunk. It was so sloppy, too. Like, I was so drunk and out of my mind. Like, the whole thing was it was retarded. Like, it was the most dumb thing I've ever done in my life.
Right.
I couldn't even pronounce my name. I'm trying to give this statement to this cop, and he's like, all right, whatever. He's like, we're just going to lock you up. Fuck it. I'm like, all right. So we go into this room or whatever. He runs like this thing in the computer, and he's like, you're free to go, but you have to go to court on this day, and this is what your charges are. And I got assault with a deadly weapon in the first. I got possession of a deadly weapon in the first. I got assault with the intent to do bodily injury in like the first or second. And I got second-degree burglary and terroristic threats. And like, I'm talking to everyone like, yo, you're prior. You're looking at 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. My kids left. Going to jail for 15 years. No one wants anything to do with me. No one, like my own family at this point, are like, dude, we don't even know what to do with you anymore. Like, you've been this way your whole life. You're just, this is you. Like, fuck it. Like, we're done trying. Like, and like, I felt like, I'm like, yo, like, I'm a loser. Like, all this hate and everything I had, all that like self-pity and everything, like I felt it like wash away. I was like, it's time to go. It's time to go. And I made this concoction from like old nuts and shit. It was a recipe I found online, like seeds, cherry seeds and shit, like for like cyanide. I threw some other shit in there. Went down to the store with a little bit of change I found underneath the couch. I got a little bottle of Jack. I'm fucking swigging. I'm like, yo, when this bottle ends, I'm going to take that shot. And I was like, I won't wake up.
It's over.
It's over. And, like, dude, I had a couple swigs left. I'm listening to like, all this sad music. And, like, I'm dead. It's fine. Like, I have the shot glass in my hand. I'm praying. I go to drink it, and next thing you know, my phone rings. And it's like 12:30, 1:30 in the morning. Like, somewhere in that line. And I'm like, who the fuck could this be? Like, I didn't even know my phone worked. And, like, that's how high I was. Like, I was so high for so long that, like, I didn't even know, like, I had minutes on my phone. Because at that time, like, I had a prepaid phone. I had to go down to the store, buy this little key thing. You scratch it off. You put the minute number in. And it's my cousin. And my cousin's, you know, on the line, Pat. So what's up? He was Patches. And that's what all the neighborhood kids call me, Patches. It's like a nickname my father gave me and just stuck.
Yeah.
And he's like, Patches, I heard some things through the grapevine. He's like, I know, like, some things were going on. He's like, I got help for you. And I'm like, this is my same cousin that lived in a trailer park next to me, like Tommy. Like, you know where we come from, bro. Like, there's no help. Like, I'm done. This is it. He's like, whatever you're doing, whatever you think about doing, whatever you've been doing, I don't care. Just fucking shut the fuck up and listen to me. And, like, at this point, I'm like, what the fuck could he have to say? Like, dude, you can't change me. Doctors couldn't change me. No one could change me. I've been this way my whole life. I'm fucked. It's over. Sayonara. And my wrestling coach from high school is on the other line.
Oh, you told me this. Hold on. Why don't we take a commercial break? Because he's going to go into, like, I know what this is about. You discussed this with me.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go to the other side. We're going to start moving to the good side of what happened to him. So maybe do the commercial break, and then this is going to be, like, really good.
All right. You got it. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So we're at the story. The take us from where you left off.
So it turns out that the whole time I was talking to my cousin, my wrestling coach from high school is on the other line. And he's, Patch. And he kind of like, he talks real aggressive and like, you know. Yeah, like that. He's like,
Typical wrestling coach.
Patch, we got you help. I'm like, Coach, come on, man. You can't help me. He's like, just shut up and listen. He's like, you're going to go to this rehab. We got you into this rehab. I was like, I can't go to rehab. Like, I don't even have health insurance. Like, I can't even spell my name. Like, you want me to go to rehab? Like, and he's like, just shut up. You're going to rehab. He's like, you're going to call Phil O'Hara. He gave me the number. He's like, you're going to call Phil O'Hara, and Phil's going to get you into the rehab. He goes, it's all paid for. It's scholarship. I'm like, oh, shit, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm like, at this point, I had nothing left to lose. I'm like, all right. You know, like, it's 15 years. I'll do it sober. Like, and like, it's like, sorry, something clicked in my brain. Like, that was God on the other phone. That phone call came through from my higher power of my own choosing. Like, that's how that story unraveled. And like, that was the last voice I expected to hear. Like, that's what makes me believe in like the whole, like, my life ended up where I needed to be because that's where God wanted me. Or I'm going to call him my higher power because I don't necessarily believe in like just a God. It's just my spiritual beliefs are different. It's just my higher power wanted me in that position because he wanted me to see the things that I couldn't understand. So when I take other people through this work, I can relate to them. I can empathize with them. Like, because I had already seen so many things throughout my life that I couldn't understand as a kid start to unfold before me time and time and again. And here's my high school wrestling coach, who I haven't talked to since high school. And he's on the other line of this telephone, giving me a second opportunity at life. Maybe even more than a second opportunity, because like I had a lot of opportunities. And it just blew my mind that he went so far out of his way and cared so much about someone that came in and did something so small. Like, he was so good. Like, he didn't cuss. He showed respect. Like, he was one of those guys, he takes young men and turns them into men. Like, like, and here's this, like, guy that I held so high, like, honor for, so much respect for, and at the blink of an eye, I heard that one of his wrestlers was in trouble. And, like, I'm pretty sure he would do this for any kid, but, like, heard, like, one of his wrestlers, like, someone that he took through 4 years of their life, who I sat in that room and I broke things for, I bled for, like, we were a family. Like, I would have died for them kids on my team. Like, and here's this man that I respect so much, just giving me an opportunity.
So he caught wind of what was going on with you.
Yeah, my cousin had explained everything. Like, there's not too much. Like, it's 3/4 square mile, just straight trash. Everybody know everybody, and everybody knows your secrets. There ain't nothing anybody's hiding from anybody. And like, my cousin found out. And my cousin, I don't know if he called Nucci. I don't know like what happened. All I know is that night,
Nucci's the coach.
Coach Nucci, yeah, Robert Nucci, man.
Yeah.
At night,
From what high school?
Raritan High School.
From Raritan.
Raritan High School. He grew up right here in Toms River. His father still lives here, I think. And greatest people ever, man. And he gets me the scholarship, and I'm like, like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I've never been sober.
A scholarship to
the rehab.
To rehab.
So what they do is, like, he works for like a program. Like, he's a president of like a program, like a Hope Sheds Light type kind of thing. I forget what it's called, but like he helps people get into like these rehabs, and what they do is they have these events and these organizations, and a lot of people come in and they're like, oh, like, we're going to donate this. Integrity House is going to donate this. Discovery House is going to donate this. Townspeople come to these things, like important mayors, police chiefs, captains, firemen, like all sorts of people that are like, doing well for themselves. They come to these events, people that lost loved ones due to the disease of addiction, and they donate all this money. So like there's a pot of money that's just floating around to like get people like me into treatment that think that like it's hopeless and there's
right,
nothing.
Because I don't have health insurance. I can't even spell my name, like you said. I don't have a pot to piss in, and
like, going to jail for 15
years. I'll just go do that.
Yeah, and he's like, and I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I've never been sober. I don't even know like
what is that?
What is that? Like how does this work? How does like all of this like? But I had nothing left to lose. And it's like, you know what? If I stay alive, I'm going to jail. I might as well do it sober. I might as well get my shit together. Maybe this is the best thing for me. And when I come out, hopefully my kids still love me, or at least want something to do with me. And I end up going right over here in Toms River to Evolve. First, I went to Sunrise Detox for 8 days. I had so many different drugs in my system that like they're like normally like the thing is like you go there for like 4 or 5 days and then they send you over to a rehab.
Right. You needed extra.
Yeah. Because I had so many, they were like if we're afraid if you go, you're just going to fucking die.
Yeah.
Like, and I had spent like 2 days already like detoxing on a couch, which felt like an eternity. Like, it literally felt like I didn't know this at the time, but you can die from just withdrawing from alcohol. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Alcohol's, I heard, the worst one to withdraw from. Is that true? Or it's like really bad, I heard.
The heroin withdrawals I hear are really bad. But like the benzo withdrawals and alcohol withdrawals will kill you, straight out kill you. You can't die from a heroin withdrawal. And I had a shit ton of benzos in my system. I had a shit ton of alcohol in my system for so long. And it's like, then on top of it, like I'm hearing things in the wall because I've been doing so much meth for so long. I was up for like, I think the longest I stayed awake for was like 15 days. Like, that's a long fucking time to be awake. Like, you start to hear and see things that like you don't know where the fuck you are. And, I get into this rehab. Well, first the detox, and I'm like, I get through the door, and, like, I'm not even nervous at this point. Like, I'm just like, yo, whatever you want to do, just do it. Like, she's like, oh, you got to take all your clothes off. You got to squat and call. Like, okay. Like, can you sign this paperwork? No problem. Like, oh, we're going to put in, like, a needle. Like, I hate needles. I'm afraid of needles. Like, oh, we got to draw blood. We're going to put in a needle. Like, here you go. Like, whatever they wanted, I did. And like they were like, look, you gotta be like honest, you gotta be truthful. And it's like, for so long, like I was so shitty, like I told so many lies and like was manipulative and like just a piece of shit. And it's like, all right, we're gonna do everything that we did last time in our life, and we're gonna do the exact opposite. So it's like, this is the first time that I was truthful with people and told them things like about the rape, about like what I was doing for Matt, like everything. I laid all the cards on the table, and I get into the detox, and they're like, all right, cool. Like, you've been here for 8 days. Like, we're gonna send you next door to the Evolve. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, all right, this sounds good. Like, this is gonna be good. now I get over there, and I was like this newborn child. Like, emotions rupture. Like, first of all, like, I forgot what emotions even were. Like, I knew pain and sadness. That was it. Knew anger every once in a while. That was it. These were like true heartfelt emotions. Like, I had to learn how to re-feel, how to rethink. There was parts of my life that I had buried so deep with the drugs and the alcohol that, like, I didn't even remember. And then during this process, it's like, it's weird. It's like walking backwards in time. It's gonna sound like insane and crazy, but from what I got told from the counselor, and this happens to a lot of people. I started having bad nightmares and night terrors about times when I was a child, memories that I had forgot, and like almost like to a point where I wouldn't be surprised if I was like sucking my thumb in my sleep at a 2-year-old level, like. And like, I had to learn how to re-feel. I had to learn what feelings were. Like, I'd sit down every day for like an hour and like just talk and be like, I don't understand this. And like, I felt like slow. Like, I felt like it's like, how am I a 33-year-old man and I'm asking another person the same age, if not younger than me, like, what is this? What is this feeling? Like, there's like no words for it. And like, I took it more serious than I've ever taken anything in my life. Like, I was there and I was like, I never wanted anything so bad in my life than to just be sober and not be miserable. And I met this guy in there. He was a tech. And he ended up being my sponsor later on. And like, he saw me in there. I'm like inquisitive and I'm always up. And like, the first week in there, they made me like the group leader or whatever. My whole stay in there, I was the group leader. And like, I was helping people and I was like talking about things. And like people were in there, like, weren't even taking it serious. And like, I was there like, yo, if I leave here and I don't get this, I'm fucking dead. Like, this is life or death for me. Right? Like, and like I never, ever in my life, ever wanted anything more than to be sober so badly. And I couldn't. And now I have this chance. Like a week ago, I almost took my own life. I straight almost killed myself. And like, now I have this golden opportunity. Like, there's people where I come from, like, and it's a really, really nice rehab. And like, people, like, they come from money and like, they go there and they're like, all right, yeah, we're here because mom and dad, like, and who wants some Skittles? Like, meanwhile, like, I don't even have a nickel. And like, you're just throwing money around, not even caring that you're here. And it's like I wanted it. And like, he saw that and he's like, he started like talking to me about things, like just a couple questions here and there. And like, all right, yeah, just talk to me. And like, one night they gave us big books, like little tiny versions of the big book. And I read it front to back 4 times while I was in there, once every week. And I'm talking to him the one time.
Explain the book. Like, it's like,
this is the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So like, what it is the first 164 pages of this book right here are the original manuscript text. And what it is this is where all the steps come from. So like, it starts out like the introduction and like that kind of like is like, that's your like identification. Like, are you or are you not an alcoholic or drug addict? Like, and then it goes on to like, once you identify if you are or aren't, like, it goes on to like working the steps. It goes into like, doctor's opinion, Bill's story, and then like chapter to the agnostics and like all this other good stuff. And that's where we do all the work. So this is a book, and it's a textbook. A lot of people say like, yo, just read it. Like, no, like, this book is not meant to just be read. It's meant to be read over and over and to be studied. And like, this shit changed my life. Like, I remember one of the first things he asked me, he's like, what was it? He's like, what is a life beyond your wildest dream look like? And like, a bunch of people were like saying like, I want to get clean and have a house. And I want to get clean and I want a car. And like, I remember just sitting there like, shit, dude, like, I just want to be sober. Like, I want a piece of me back. Like, I want a part of my soul. Like, I want to feel whole. Like, I don't want to feel miserable every day that I wake up. I don't want to wake up and not look in the mirror. I didn't look in the mirror for like 15 years of my life because I was so ashamed by what it was like. It'd be pretty cool to like look at myself in the mirror and see what I look like. Like, half the time I don't even know what I look like.
And feel something.
And feel something, like, other than just hate and remorse or, like, guilt and shame. And he's like, all right, well, I promise you, if you're a real alcoholic, you do this book, that you'll get those promises. And I was like, how do you know that? He goes, because it's in the book. I read it. He's like, I did it. And I'm like, wait, you've been through the book? He said, yeah. And he asked me another question. So you really think you're an alcoholic? He's like, I was like, yeah. He goes, you really think you're a drug addict? I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. I wouldn't waste anyone's time. He goes, what if I told you right now you don't have a problem with drugs and alcohol? I was like, okay, yeah, you're crazy. You're out of your brain. He's like, nah, listen. He goes, you don't have a problem with drugs and alcohol. They're a symptom of your problem. He goes, you have a problem with self. And that was the first time in my whole life someone said something to me that clicked. And I'm like, man, like, yo, that makes sense. Like, I hate myself. Like, I'm so self-absorbed. Like, I'm in this predicament. Like, I started telling him about, like, the jail and, like, where I was going. He's like, I did, like, 4 bids. He's like, I've been in and out of prison my whole life. He's like, we're going to find you help. He's like, don't worry. He's like, I assure you that no matter where you go, as long as you go sober, you'll have the same promises in this book that this book promises you. And that's happiness, freedom, the mental obsession will be lifted. Like, that was another thing. Like, when I was drinking and drugging, like, I could be sitting there playing with my kid. When that itch hit, all fun and games were over till I grabbed a drink. Then we go right back to it. Like, and, like, part of me was like, yo, like, why do I need to do this? Like, you feel bad, but it's like, I need it. Like, I needed it to like, because it's up there. It's in your brain. It's like, this is going to happen until this happens. And that's it. End of story. And it's like, so I get out of the rehab and I actually called him before I came here. I'm like, yo, dude, look, I know we haven't talked in a little bit. I'm like, I'm going to do this podcast. And I'm like, I just wanted to tell you about it. Like, because, like, it's like talking about, like, having to come here and talk about recovery. It's like, it's taking me back to, like him. Like, and, like, we're not supposed to give our sponsors credit and stuff like that. Because, like, we're here to do God's work. We're here to, like, be as of usefulness of our purpose to God as we can, or higher power as we can. Like, it's like he's just fulfilling what he has to do to keep himself sober by keeping me sober and teaching other guys how to be sober. And it's like, oh man, what a good guy. And, like, so I get out of the rehab, and they were so cool in there. Because they saw that, like, I really wanted this. Like, and I told him, like, I'm like, look, dude, like, if I don't get this, like, I'm dead. Like, this is it. And he calls me. He's like, hey, when you getting out? And I'm like, oh, I'll be out on this day. He goes, all right, cool. Where's your house? You're going to the Phoenix house in Prick? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, we're going to have a car waiting there. And I was supposed to leave on a Thursday. But the meeting that I wanted to go to where he was at, his home group, was on a Friday. And I asked the counselors, I'm like, look, can I please just stay one extra day? And they were like, yeah, no problem. Like, we could totally do that. Like, no problem. We could totally do that. I'm like, oh, thank God. So I get out. I go to the Phoenix house, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I never lived in a house full of this many people to do good. Usually there's this many people in a house, and we're doing stupid shit. Like,
it's not
like,
good.
Totally different. And so I get there, and like an hour being there, I didn't even have a phone. I had no phone, no minutes. And, like, he told me, like, on the phone before I left, like, he was like, call me before you leave. And I called him before I left. She goes, all right, she's going to be there at this time. Like, 5 minutes late. She was only like 5 minutes late. I'm sitting there. I don't have a phone. I'm scared. I'm like, oh my God, she's not going to come. Like, this is never going to happen. And then she shows up. And she's like, you Pat? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. And I get in the car, and she's, we're going to go to this meeting. And she's all happy and giddy and go lucky. And I'm like, holy shit, this is what sobriety's like. Like, and you could tell by the look on this woman's face that, like, there was no faking it. Like, this wasn't BS. Like, she truly got a gift. Like you could tell, like, by her skin, like, the way it glowed, the way her personality glowed. You're like, wow, like, yo, I want that. Like, I want to feel that way. And I get to this meeting, and, like, everyone's so nice, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be like cold tea, and this is going to be weird, and, like, nah. No, it's not at all. Like, these people, like, they don't push ideas on you. They don't push things on you. They give you their opinion. They give you their story. They give you a new outlook on life. They just share their experience. They never say, like, you need to do this. You need, like, no, it's not like that at all. Like, they want you to know, like, yo, there's hope. Like, I thought I was the only person in the entire world that ever felt this way. There's millions of us all over the place. And, like, this gift that I got, like, in my 10 months of recovery, I've done more with my life and I felt better than I ever have. Ever in my life. Like, I got my kids back. Me and Jacqueline are back together. I get to see my daughter again. I didn't see my daughter for almost like 2 years, and that ate me up. I stopped seeing my kids for a couple months, like, and I was ready to die over it. Like, every weekend, like, you know, other than the 2 weeks, like, you know, I work with Larry. We're in cleanup season. Like, it's go time now. It's the end of the season. We got to get shit done. And, like, she's very understanding of that. But, like, this is the first time since we got back together that she hasn't been there in 2 weeks. And, like, a part of me is already, like, eating up inside. Like, oh, God, I just miss him. Like, now in sobriety, it's like nothing comes before anything anymore. Like, my recovery, like, it took me to, like, it's almost like being reborn and, like, taking it back a little further before me and her got back together. So I get out and, you know, like, I had gone through all 12 steps before my court case. And I had my court case pushed twice just so I could go through these steps. One was when I was in rehab, and once was like I wasn't done with my steps yet. And I was like, look, you got to reschedule. Like, and they're like, they're not going to like this. They're like, just so you know, like, you're going right to trial. Like, you're not even going to have this little whatever the hell it is. And I'm like, okay. Like, yeah, I was fine with it. Like, I was like, that's what the program gave me. Those are the gifts that I got. Like, yo, if this is where God needs me to be, if every bad thing in my life happened because my higher power needed to happen to put me where I'm at now, then this is no different. If he needs me in there, it needs me, whatever it is, it, she, it, they, whatever. If it needs me in that prison to spread this message, to tell people, like, yo, this exists, this is real, and this works. And it works. I was hopeless. I was lost. I was beyond hope. And this worked. So if that's where I got to go, then I got to go. So I get to the courtroom. I'm pretty sure my lawyer absolutely hated me because I show up and she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. We're doing this. And I'm like, no. I'm like, listen. She's like, you can't tell me these things. She's like, I'm a public defender. You just don't tell me anything. I'm like, stop. Listen. I'm like, I work a program of recovery. I'm like, I'm going to be honest no matter what happens. I'm like, if this is what lies ahead of me, then this is what lies ahead of me. In step 3, I gave myself full away. I'm here to do God's work now. I'm here to do my higher power's work. That's it. Like, whatever happens, happens. It's where I need to be. And I tell her exactly what happened. I'm like, you know, I didn't just rob somebody else. Like, I robbed a drug dealer. And I told her exactly why I was there, what happened, and everything else. And she's like, all right. Just give me like 20 minutes. She comes back like an hour later. And she's like, I had to do a lot of talking. She's like, you're going to get a second hearing. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not going to say like I didn't care. Like, I cared. But it's just like, whatever, like, I really firmly...
What it was going to be was going to be.
Yeah, like, what it was. Like, I didn't walk in there whistling Dixie. Like, I meant every word I said. Like, whatever it is, it is, dude. Like, and I show up. This judge hated me. He absolutely fucking hated me. And he, like, read me. He's like, I'm reading these allegations. You must have been really high because this is crazy. Like, and he's reading the entire police report and everything. And, like, originally, like, they were just going to kick it up to grand jury. I was indicted. I already had the indictment letter and everything.
This is a pre-trial hearing after grand jury where you were already indicted.
Like, they sent me a letter saying this crazy shit, but I was in rehab. Like that, okay. Like they weren't going to do this pre-trial thing and everything else. And then they called them from the rehab and they were like, oh, we're going to do it. Then I blew one of them off and then they were like, we're just going to go to the thing. And then I showed up there and they were like, all right, this is what happened. And then she went and talked to the public defender and was like, look, you know, not for nothing, not saying right is right and wrong is wrong, but like whatever she worded it. And she comes back, I don't know, she gave me a whole big spiel and she's like, we're gonna get a second hearing. We're not gonna go to grand jury. We're gonna get a second hearing.
This is before grand jury.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about that.
Yeah.
Like I get all confused
Right,
with that shit.
right.
She's like, we're gonna do that. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, do whatever you gotta do. Like, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do all this work. Like, and I did. And like, I just continued to work, and I continued to help everyone. I continued to go to the meetings. I continued to work on getting my family back. I continued working an actual job without having to get up and drink whiskey in my coffee or some sort of fucking or anything. Like, and I just worked and worked and worked and worked. Like, I would stay up endless hours every night throughout the night, like studying this book right here, this exact book in my hands, filled with writing. Like, I got like everything in black writing is my lineage writing, like stuff that my sponsor took me through. Everything in blue is stuff I did on my own. Orange is for my work, yellow is for his work. And like, this is the way I take people through the steps. Like, we all copy the same material, except for the blue, something I did. But like the black, all the black is all like, I put hours and hours and hours of meticulous time and work into studying this. And like, it's hard. It's, you don't just put the drinks and the drug down and say like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, you got to put the work in, man. Like, I had to do things I've never done before. Like, number one, be honest. We do like a 4-step, man. And what we're doing in this 4-step is you write a moral inventory. Everything you've ever done in your life, bad. Like, it's not even necessarily like what you did bad. It's more like things you didn't like about yourself, or how you looked at life. Like, there's a like 4-column thing, right? And like, we write the first 3 columns and we save the 4th column. And it's like, it kind of flips the script on it. Because when you put that 4th column in, the first 3 are like, they're lining you up for how you felt. And that 4th one's like, well, how do you think they felt? How do you think this is? It gives you that whole switch of like, oh shit, like, yo, you're right. Like, and then step 5, you read this moral inventory to your sponsor out loud. We sat at this park in Neptune, and it was gorgeous. It was freezing fucking cold. And it reminded me of being back in that tent in the winter. And and we're sitting there, and he's like, we're telling each other our deepest, darkest, most intimate secrets, like shit that nobody should ever tell anybody ever. And like, he's like, you understand like why we're doing this, like why we did this, and like, so what we're doing is we're building a pathway, a conscious contact to our higher power. We can't have a conscious contact with our higher power the way I did that day that I got the wrestling call. Like, my wrestling coach called me, my cousin called me, like, that was like my higher power, like, out there, like, sending me a message, a sign. And like, now how do I take all this stuff I know and I feel, and how do I turn it into hearing? How can I allow God to speak through me if I have all this baggage, all this blockage, all this internal guilt and shame that I can't get rid of? How do we do it? How do we possibly rid ourselves of this horrible, horrible disease like that? This is how. We do this moral inventory, man. We give our self-will away over in 3, and we do step 5, and then it goes on to 6 and 7, and then you make your amends, and it's like, and they're all written in a particular order, because you can't do another step without doing the first step, because they all line up. It's just the way it is. Like I had to drop my ego, my pride. I had to drop everything. I had to admit, like, the first 2 pages of this book are actually blank. And the reason why they're blank, the first 2 pages are meant to remind the reader, we don't know shit. Like, that's why there's 2 blank pages in the beginning. That's like a true thing. Like, that's like, we have to constantly be vigilant. And like, my morning routine, I wake up before I go to work with Larry. I wake up around like 5:30, sometimes 6. And like, I get up, I sit at the edge of my bed, I do a quick little prayer. Then I get in my truck, I put my clothes on, get in my truck. That whole time I'm in that truck, I'm meditating. Like, it sounds crazy to meditate and drive. It's not like I'm like Buddhist, like, I'm thinking like, like in my head, like, just try to clear that path. Like, what did I do? Like, we do step 10, we do like a nightly review, right? And like, so like, you write these questions out, and then we answer them, right? And it's kind of more like a reflection of like, how was I today? Like, was I a shitbag? Did I get mad at someone? Like, was I fearful? Was I angry? Was I dishonest? And it's a way to like keep us on track. And in the morning when I reflect on that, like the night before, it's like, all right, yesterday, like it was a good day, but like it could be better. Like I could do better. There's things I could do better. Like, how am I going to do better today? Like, then I throw it up to my higher power. Like, God, like, please just help me be the best person I could be. Help me do your work. Like, thy will be done. Like, and that's how I live my life today. And like, dude, I smile. Like, let me tell you, like, I'm always
He's
smiling.
always happy.
And
he's always a half hour early.
Like, and
Always.
It's genuine too. Like it's like there's no bull. Like I used to fake it. Like we were talking about Robin Williams the other day.
Yeah,
Remember? It was like, all right, how some of these guys that like they're so funny, but deep inside, like
they're hurting.
They're hurting, and like they're like I used to feel that way, and I used to go out with my uncles, and like I laugh and joke, but like deep down inside, I was like, I fucking hate my life. I hate this.
Sucks.
Yeah, dude. I'm genuinely happy. Every day this side of dirt is the best day I possibly could ever have.
Yeah, take me to today. I mean, you're like you're working for Larry. You've come, you know.
We got up early this morning because we were going to the farm.
Yeah,
and like, we just wanted to get it done. Like,
right, which is a big property, Larry. You've done for your entire
massive.
career.
I used to do a farm with my uncle.
Right,
it was Cobble Close Farm over there, like Navesink River somewhere, like that area. And I used to think that was the biggest place in the world.
Right.
I went to this farm. That
We have a really good system there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
We kill it, dude. Like,
I probably dragged personally today, probably like over 100 tarps. I did. Like that
big
tarps.
tarps.
That was us. Like,
you've seen the tarp. They're shit.
I didn't want anybody
They're
else getting tired or hurting their back, so I dragged every single tarp. Right? Who did them all? Me and Roberto.
You and Berto.
Who did every
I
think
think Pete might have dropped. Pete might have
Pete
been in
took
there a couple
Berto's spot
times.
twice.
Like I knew I was
It's
like,
dead.
all right, like all right, I gotta get up at like 4:30 in the morning. I gotta go to work. I'm gonna do these gas cans. Like he didn't even ask me to do the gas cans.
Right.
He's just like, can you just drive the truck in and everything else? And like I got up early. I did the gas cans. I filled everything up. Like I'm proud of myself. Like I'm there. Like
right.
And like it's cold. It's freezing cold.
Yeah,
There's no light. There's no light. I had to pull my truck up to behind the trailer and shine the lights in. And like that whole time, I couldn't stop smiling. Like I'm just like, man, it's cold, but it's a beautiful morning. Like I'm here. Like I'm alive. And guess what? I'm fucking sober.
Yeah.
Like 23 years.
Right.
Every day with a drug, like some sort of substance, some sort of something to get me through that day.
Right.
And like I don't have to live like that anymore, and nobody has to live like that. Like like I'll tell you what, I put all this work in the beginning, and I was stressing myself out, like, oh, I gotta go to meetings. Like, it's all good stuff. Like now, like I still go to a meeting every now and then. I still put in the work, like, but it's not so stressful. Like you go through this small time period of just straight, like especially in step 4, like you're reevaluating your whole, like it's spiritually and mentally draining.
Yeah.
Even like you could get so stressed out. Like there was times like I was physically sick to my stomach. Like I would be puking in the middle of the night because like I was so stressed out from all the day long of like trying to like do my best to write out all this shit that I've done.
Yeah.
And it's like it paid off tenfold.
Yeah.
Every promise that this book made to me, it came true. Like I'm happy, like genuinely happy. Like I love working with Larry. I was working for this guy, and we kind of had a falling out. He's a good guy. It's just like we didn't see eye to eye, and I ended up leaving. And then I was working with my grand sponsor, Sean, and he's one of the greatest people I ever met in my life. Like I love him to death. And he's a plumber, and work was dry. Like he had work here, a little bit here, but like not like what I needed.
Right.
And it ended up like he's like, dude, he's like, I love you to death. He's like, I just got into work right now. And like a couple of weeks went by, and then like I'd work a day, and then a couple of weeks would go by, and like now I'm like, I came to him. I was like $1,000 like behind my rent. I was getting ready to get kicked out of the living sober house, and like, like it never, like the thought of drinking or drugging never even crossed my mind because like I'm free. I'm lifted of that mental obsession.
Right.
It's just like whatever it is. I'll figure it out. I don't need this. There's no reason anymore for
that. Yeah.
Like I don't have to live that way anymore. I'm not gonna live that way anymore. Like, and my roommate Matt, he's actually one of my sponsees, And oh, God bless his soul. He just moved out today too. He got
did
his
he?
own apartment. Yeah, he got his own
That's
apartment
cool.
with his girlfriend. He's doing great. He's such a good guy, man. He used to work for Larry, and he became a plumber. So he's getting his license and everything. Went to school
Yeah.
for it. And he's like, it's it was nothing personal. He just got
Yeah,
it.
he's
and he was like,
bettering
Larry was
himself.
so cool about it. He's
Yeah.
like,
So he talked to you about Larry?
yeah. I don't know if he gave me Larry's number directly or I forget who he told me to text or call. And like
I think Sean.
was it Sean?
I think he had you hit up Sean, and then Sean hit me up.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Is that how it happened?
Yep,
I don't even know who I was like. He gave me a number. I texted it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And like Larry was so cool. Like I remember, like I came to work. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to be that guy. I'm like, but I'm really behind mine. He's like 400, 500 here. Okay, like so cool about it, and like I go to work and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing shit, it was like me and my best friend. Then it was like me and my uncle or me and him. Like, dude, we go to work and it's like 2 guys, sometimes 3 guys, and like, dude, we have a blast.
Yeah.
Like it's so much fun. Like especially now that like I'm sober and stuff. Like, dude, we kill it. We like me and Leo, we work so good together. We go to work, we do what we gotta do. We go home, we goof around, we have jokes, and then when it's time to work, like we're serious and we're focused. Like,
right.
But like, I love it there.
Is this something you see long term, or what are your aspirations, goals?
Unfortunately, it's not. Like, I would stay with Larry forever if I could. Like, who knows? That might be the course. But like, my goals right now, like I want to work like 2-3 years. My brother lives out in Virginia. Like I'm still on probation, so like I gotta stay in the living sober house till the duration of my probation ends.
So just to touch back on how did that all end? Because we didn't.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry.
No. Like the second hearing. I
got in front of the judge, and like even the judge was like, I don't understand, like because he was like it comes down to them or whatever, and like. The one prosecutor or whatever the fuck her name is and everything. I don't mean to be rude. I hope she doesn't think that's like a rude thing to say. Like she was very, very nice, very understanding, understood my situation. I was very honest about everything. I like, truly from the bottom of my heart, like I was remorseful. Like what I did was wrong. And like it's the first time that I did something wrong in my life that I like something like that. And I felt bad about it. Like, and so we get in front of the judge and he's like, all right, you can't go to Hazlitt, Middletown, Kingsburg. You have to be in a living sober house until the finishing duration of your probation. Like I go to probation, I had to leave work a couple times. Larry's like, yeah, go do what you got to do and come back. And like, he very, very relaxed, man.
So there's stipulations.
There's a lot of stipulations.
Yeah,
There's a
you
lot
don't have
of
to get into there.
stipulations.
But
like, yeah, I got to piss in a cup like every 2 weeks.
Right, but
like,
the kept you out of prison.
Yeah. By the grace of God, because my charges were like,
yeah, you read them off to me. I'm like, good God.
Yeah, dude. Like I thought I was like, there's no way I'm not going to prison. And this guy's like, and then she comes back, she's like, yeah, you're not going to go to jail. She's like, you have to sign this. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. I'm like, wait, go back. I'm not going to jail. And she's like, nope. I'm like, holy shit, like what? Like,
yeah,
I couldn't believe it. And like, even like my probation officer, like when he was like, I was talking to him about it, and he's like, what? He's like, okay, like, like that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like,
wow.
And like, I guess they took a lot of like, because I was honest.
Yeah,
I was honest, and I told them exactly what happened and like where I was and how I ended up and like where I'm at today.
Yeah,
and like, I guess they could like see it in my face that like, this isn't like, yo, I'm just trying to get out of jail. Like no, like.
Right.
I love my sobriety. Like there's nothing I take more serious in my life than recovery. Like I laugh, I joke, I play. But like when it comes down to this, like like when I sit down with a sponsor, I'm sorry, with a sponsee. Like when I'm taking
now you're guiding others.
Yeah. I've been through the 12 steps, and I'm taking other people through the work. I've taken a couple of guys pretty far, and a couple of them bailed out. But like. Like when I'm taking like, I laugh, I joke, I say this, I say that. But when I go through that book with them, I read that prayer, and there's a prayer in the front. And when we read that prayer together, it's called a set-aside prayer. That's it. The fun and games are like, we're cracking down, like, yo, and we're going to talk.
We're doing work.
It's something like, I'm so grateful for like my recovery in the process. And like, it's like this kid, like this guy, didn't even know. Just so freely gave up his time, like first like a couple times, like he knew I had no money and like nothing. He'd buy me lunch and like and all he ever asked, is like you match my I'll match your willingness. Like all we ever ask of you is like, yo, if we take you through this work, you gotta take someone else through it, because that's how we do it.
Pay it forward.
We spread the message. Like that's what it is.
That's what it is.
We're vessels to do the higher powers. You know, how much use can I be to my higher power?
Right.
And it's like, how can I squander that? Like I can't. Like so when it comes time to do this, it's like I don't want to put it in front of anybody, but it's in front of everybody and everything. Because without it, I have nothing.
Right.
Like it's.
So take me back to the goals, aspirations, where you see yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No. You're doing great.
Virginia, my brother James, he's just like my grandfather, dude. This kid he's my little brother. I love to death. He was with my mom and my dad, not with my stepmom, who I call mom because I love my stepmom.
Right.
My stepmom is the best lady I've ever met in my life. I love her to death. Yeah. He lives out in Virginia. And he's got his hand in like every little cookie jar, right? He's in the military, like.
Really?
Yeah,
we're gonna get him on.
Yeah,
we're gonna get him on. He's in the Navy. He's got his own little tree service. He's like cleaning out beds. What else? He's a realtor. I'm pretty sure he even has a house where he like rents shit. Like
he's got a lot going on.
Yeah, and like
all positive.
And we came from nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And like he's still like I'm not gonna sit here and say James is an alcoholic. But he might be teetering on that line. Like, but like he functions and he does everything he's supposed to do. And like this kid, like when I say like I wouldn't consider myself a talker. Like I'm very shy. I'm not very like I crack a joke here and there. Like this kid's got the gift of gab. Like he'll sell ice to an Eskimo. This kid, like, he's truly like he's just one of the, everyone knows who he is. He can walk into a room with. Like you could walk into a crowded room filled with billionaires and walk in and just start making everyone laugh. Like,
he's got it.
He's got it, bro. He's got that moxie, and he's stubborn, hard-headed. And like I love him to death, dude. Like he's one of my favorite people in this whole world, and I'm so proud of everything that he ever did. And so he's a little hustler, man. Like he does everything.
So two more years of.
I want to do 2-3 years. I have 2 years of probation. I probably got like a year and 6 months left.
Okay.
And then I want to move down there and talk to him like yo, me and the kids, Jacqueline will move down there, and you know I'll do like a landscape thing. You could do the tree thing, or like we'll start some up because he's always asking me like I used to help. Like I could like in a house, like I could pretty much do anything in a house, anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why don't you like come down here and we'll like build this, or like we'll do this. Like we used to talk about it all the time. Like, and we stopped because I was getting so fucked up. It's like, oh, this is never gonna happen. I don't even want to bother wasting my time talking about it.
Right, and it's almost like this. The stars are aligning. Everything's coming together.
Yeah, and it's like I can go down. Like I can do the same work I'm doing here with the recovery, and like that. That work can be done anywhere
in the world.
If you want it bad enough, you can get sober in a cardboard box. Like, and that's just the way it is. But like, in 3 or 4 years, I would like to be down there. Like, who knows? Maybe I'll still be with Larry. Like, I don't see myself going for another job. Like, I love my job, what we do, and like it's hard to find. Like back where I come from, there's a landscaper on every block. There's thousands of them, all small time, little trailer, like 2 machines, like. Larry does beautiful work, and Larry cares about his customers. So when I see that pride, like it's like, this is where I want to be. Like this is how I feel about like my work.
Yeah.
And like to see someone carry that same enthusiasm and that same like love, passion for like, because he's very passionate about landscaping. Like we have, oh, you see this machine, all these, like we love it. Like it's something that we like to do. So it's like I love working there. Like, and like I mean I love to work for Larry. If the opportunity arises and I go down there, like I could do the same thing there. And
you could do it yourself. You could.
Yeah.
You could be Larry.
I could.
And that's what we want to see.
I'll tell you what, man. If I could pick someone to emulate, it would definitely be Larry. Because like he told me how he started, and it's like same as I started. And it's like we have that drive. Like two totally different lives, same driving work ethic. Like,
Absolutely.
just we love it, and it's like you could tell. You can tell like just by looking at someone like this person loves to do what they do. Like otherwise they wouldn't get up at 4:30 in the morning to be doing estimates. They wouldn't be out here doing this. They wouldn't like it's. I like that, you know. And like there's a lot of like I've been doing it forever. I learn new things every day.
Yeah.
There's still plants that like I hear a plant. I'm like, hey, what's that? And they tell me. I'm like, I've never heard
I
of that
learned one
before.
yesterday.
Yeah. Right.
Like I learn all the time. Like no one's
That's being humble.
Yeah. Like dude, no one's.
Once you think you know everything, you
A guy goes, "What's this?" I go, "I honestly just have no clue. I never planned it.
No idea.
I never used it, and I never saw it, so I have no clue."
Yeah. Well,
my dad always said that too. He's like, when you lose the ability to learn, like that's it. You got nothing else. Like if you can't be taught something, like what else do you have?
right.
Like you're just never gonna know anything. You're just never gonna know anything.
You're a rockhead and you think you know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Like I tell people all the time, like if I can't do it, I don't know how to do it. Like I don't want to do it. Or like if I see someone like, hey man, can you just
show me that?
Show me what you just did. Like I love to learn. Like
Yeah.
I love to learn. I love to like learn new things. Like the way I would do cleanups. I mean, the cleanups are like it's a very simple. It's not simple. It's like there's a process.
That's a process.
But it's like all the same things,
Yeah.
But like I was doing it like myself with a Red Max, whereas like it's like all right, now we have people to work with. Like this
Angles.
is cool. Like,
Yeah.
So it's like all right, and like the first day, like I probably wasn't that good. Like I was the God's honest truth. Like I probably wasn't doing all that great. But I stopped
just
and
told you.
I
I said, just follow us. That's all you gotta do is follow us.
Yeah.
You don't need to know what to do.
No,
Just follow us. That's it. If you follow us, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
and he was right. I did.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like, and then it's like you practice a little bit. Like you're like I know these angles doing it by myself. So like if I work this and someone else works, and it's like all right, this works. And it's like, did you do another one? It's like this works. Like, and it's great. It's just like awesome. I love being there. Like
it's awesome, man. Yeah. I'm so glad you came on. I want to have you on again because we have like so much more to cover. And I want to check in with you periodically.
Definitely.
And I think you have a lot of great knowledge to share, and a lot of people that are going through or have been through the same things you are, or you have a lot of really good stuff. And I'm so glad you came on. And like I said, if how we can help you in any way, and we want to see you grow and
awesome.
And continue on. But thank you for being so open and honest, sharing your story.
Definitely.
And we'd love to have you back.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'd love to be back. If I could just say like one thing real quick, like
for sure.
Anybody out there struggling with addiction or alcoholism, like anything like that, like don't stop believing in yourself. There is hope for every single person out there. Go. There's online organizations. Go online. Just Google AA.org. And you'll find your closest meeting and just go in there, take all that shame and everything and like clear that lump in your throat, raise your hand and say, I need help. That's all you have to do, and everybody in that room will be there. What do you need? Do you need a sponsor? Do you need this? Do you need that? Like cardboard box, millionaires, they're all there. Everyone's there. You're not alone. We're not alone. We don't have to be alone. Please save your own life. Please.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Patrick,
That's
thank
great,
you so
man.
much, man. We'll,
Definitely.
We'll love to have you back. We'll kick it back to Mr. Producer, and we'll see you guys on the next one.